Hi, I'm LeAnn Rivers. I'm the owner administrator of Professional Healthcare. And what we've been doing since Memorial Day through July the 4th is we're interviewing some of our patients that were veterans. And today I have the special privilege of interviewing my dad, who's a veteran. And I've included my mom in this interview because I want to share how the service impacted the women also during that time. And there's also a little tidbit we're going to throw in there because I was a baby. And we had some neat journeys and adventures through all of that. So the first thing I want to do is introduce Byron Davis to you. This is my dad, and this is Jeannie Davis, my mom.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, so Dad, first thing we want to know is what branch of the service were you in?
Well, I was in the U.S. Army. I was a draftee in 1968.
And how long did you serve?
I served from 1968 to 70.
And you were a good-looking sucker back in your day.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And on the back of this picture it says the Vietnam War. So did you go to Vietnam?
No, I did not. But it was Germany. I went to Germany for 18 months, and that was the waiting point for other soldiers to wait there to go to Nam.
Now, I remember, Dad, growing up, I remember us talking about how a lot of people went to Vietnam, and that was a really bad situation, and how God moved in your favor because, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there like several men lined up and they were saying Vietnam, Vietnam, Vietnam? When they came to you, they said Germany, Vietnam, Vietnam.
Yes.
So that was a blessing for you because you didn't have to go to that horrible place during that time. God kind of moved you to a different area.
Yes, he did. He took care of me, and you know, all veterans, you know, they all gave some, but some gave all. And I thank the Lord for the ones that has served the Army and gave their life, that I, as an American, can be free here in America.
Amen.
That's
Amen.
right.
Amen.
So what was your job while you were in the Army?
Well, I took my basic training in Fort Polk, Louisiana. Then I went from Fort Polk, Louisiana, I went to Germany for 18 months for a transportation company, which worked on big vehicles all over Europe. And I got to tour Europe at the expense of military, and I loaded up Jeeps with gasoline and went all over Europe, fixing big trucks on the side of the road. But I really enjoyed myself.
Yeah, did you receive any medals? Is this
Well, I was
some of the little...
well, yeah, some a little bit. So I stayed in for 18 months, like I said, but my rank was sergeant and SPEC 5.
So you just said you were a SPEC sergeant. Can you tell me what that means?
Well, a specialist is in your class that was trained for.
So you were a specialist.
I was a specialist in transportation mechanic.
So how'd you get your sharpshooter?
Well, that was back in basic training, back when we were shooting the rifle on the practice field, and that's how I got sharpshooter.
So you left, and Mom was pregnant with me.
Yes.
So you got called away to Germany while she stayed here in Texas.
Yes. I
So-
didn't like that, but that's the way it was.
Gotta do what you
when
gotta do.
you gotta go when Uncle Sam calls you, so.
Okay. So Mom, so you're pregnant with me, and they allowed you to come and stay with him?
No, not until after you were born.
Okay, so I had to be born.
Whenever he got drafted, I did not know I was expecting you until after he was in basic training. And when I found out that I was pregnant with you, he had called me, the first telephone call he was able to make. And he asked me, and I told him, yeah, we were expecting our first baby. And he left in August. I didn't see him until February the 1st, and you were 8 weeks old before your daddy got to see you.
So you loaded me up.
I did.
You flew me to Germany.
I did. And the next week after we left, New York got socked in by fog, and nothing left the ground for about 3 or 4 days. So I was able to get out there the day before all this fog came about, and Daddy had only so many days leave. So part of his days, I was supposed to get there in January, and we didn't make it until February the 1st.
So you and I lived with Dad
We did.
for the next 18 months?
Well, for about 16. And he had gotten us an apartment, which consisted of one little bedroom, one little, I guess, kitchen, living room combined, and had no hot water, no running hot water, and the bathroom was off to the back, and when it got cold, you couldn't even go out there because it was frozen water coming out of the hydrant.
So did you enjoy living in Germany? And
Yeah, once I got used to being away from my mom and daddy, I did.
now your daddy served in the service too, right?
Yes, he
This
was in
is
the
my
Navy.
grandpa.
He was in the Navy during World War II on a submarine called the USS Steelhead.
And what did he do?
He was a cook and a baker. And unless fighting started, and then he had a gun up on deck that he would shoot.
That's cool. So as you're living with Dad, did y'all get to tour Europe and tour different places?
When you were 8 months old, my daddy flew over for 2 weeks, and we went to Paris, France. We went to Amsterdam, Holland. We went to
I think she
Luxembourg.
has some little dolls too that are 50 years old.
Oh, wow.
Not that I'm 50.
No, not at
Well,
all.
I'm 52 actually.
I wanted to start her a doll collection, and
Those
every-
are so cute.
everything over there was so expensive, and he had such a tiny little salary. I had to get tiny little dolls. This one is from Paris. This is from the salt mines in Austria. This is how we had to dress when we went down into the salt mines.
Oh, wow.
We looked just like this, and we rode a little train into the salt mines, and they showed us the different things, how they got the salt out.
Wow.
She is from Germany, and she is dressed in the attire that were worn in Mannheim, which is where Byron was stationed. She, of course, is from Holland, and I got her in Amsterdam. This one I got in Salzburg, Austria. We had gone to a retreat down there, and while we were there, we went touring around, and I got her. So
Cute.
these are just keepsakes.
That's a treasured collection.
It is.
So Dad, is there anything that you remember that just stands out to you, or was there anybody you served with that you remained friends with after you finished the service?
Oh yes, I had a lot of friends in the military, and some of them went on, some went on to Nam, some of them come home. And over there, people would buy cars, and when they come home, they would sell their car to an individual. So I bought one of the cars. It's a little Renault, and we toured all over Europe and in that little car. And, well, I had a lot of friends that stands out because I still know some of them that I had a little black friend. His name was Marshall Lee Tinsley, and he was a very good friend.
So, Dad, would you do it again?
Oh yes, I'd do it again. If Uncle Sam called me, I would be right there.
Why is
I'd
that?
be on the front line because I love America. I love people. I love the smile that people give when they're standing up for America and what is right and freedom that we have here in the USA.
Man. Right.
Well, now that we've kind of asked some of the formal questions that a lot of people want to know, I thought it would kind of be fun just to kind of talk about some of the things that they saw during that era and some interesting places that they went and different things like that. So, Mom, do you have any like stories or maybe places that you saw that just impacted you that you still remember today? Because we know that was over 52 years ago.
I do. When we were in, I think it was Luxembourg, we went to a church that was riveted with bullet holes still from World War II. And we saw fields where you see crosses, one right after the other. Just fields of them, several of them. We also got to go to a concentration camp at Dachau, Germany. They had made a memorial to all the ones that were there. They had pictures. We got to go into the gas chambers that they used. We saw the burning things that
Furnaces.
they shoved the people up in there and burned them alive. You could still, when the wind blew a certain way, you could still smell the stench of death in that place. We got to go to the Humble factory where they make the little Humble dolls. I have one of those, by the way. I forgot. We got to go see where Anne Frank was kept up in a room for that length of time that she was a prisoner, her and her family. We got to see that. We saw Mozart's room where he wrote his concerto or whatever that thing is that he wrote. We got to go to the Black Forest where I bought my mama, myself, and my sister a cuckoo clock from the Black Forest where they make them. One thing that really stands out is one evening we were going to church and Byron comes in and I had left the stroller downstairs and he had it right in his face. And he comes in and when he puts it down, he looked like somebody from Mars. A wall had popped back up and hit him right in the face and broke his nose. And he looked like, it was terrible. But he got okay. His nose is still a little crooked.
I know we can't see
Zoom in on
that.
that. Let's zoom in on that.
But I have some memories too. I being from this part of the, country in Texas, you didn't have very much snow. But when I got to Germany, it snowed and snowed and snowed and snowed. We built a snowman. All of us soldiers got out there and we rode up some of them and we built a snowman, humongous, and it was a sight to see. We made it right under our flagpole, and some more things. That way I traveled around Mannheim and Bernheim was on a bicycle. I bought a bicycle from a boy that was coming home, and when I left, I sold my bicycle, which I sold my car also, and there was some kids playing on the banks of a slope, and I was just walking along, and them kids was hollering at me, come and slide, come and slide. I said, okay. So I got on that little slide and sled or whatever, and went right down that hill just like they did. And they was really friendly little folks, and I really liked Germany.
You like the people that were in Germany? And
Well, some of them was pretty, most of them was real good. And some of them, snobby. But
did y'all have special places that you like to eat, or did y'all go out to eat there? Was it primarily cooking, or?
No, we usually, well, we ate out several times, especially when we toured Germany. We went out to eat, and
They would have,
what was,
on the streets, they would have Wiener Schnitzels, which are sausage.
Yeah.
Sausage, yeah.
oh, it's good.
Which were sausage. And you could buy pretzels and the Wiener Schnitzels out on the streets. The bakeries were wonderful. I gained, I think, 25 pounds when I was over there. But it was really a something that normally we would not ever get to experience. So it was a blessing. When he first got drafted, of course, it was awful. I cried and cried and prayed, but God knew what He had in store for us.
Yeah.
And I think the whole thing was really a blessing for us.
Yeah.
I do remember one time they called grandmothers and grandfathers over there Oma and Opa. And that's what we called our landlady, and our landlord was Oma and Opa. And they had a big cherry tree in the front yard. And I went down and I picked cherries. And I made a homemade cherry pie. The crust, the filling, the whole 9 yards. And Byron has said that's the best cherry pie
It
he
was
ever ate.
delicious.
And so, how do you say "I love you" in German?
Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
Ich liebe dich.
Yep. Well, I'm glad I got to have this time to interview my dad and my mom, and we're just very thrilled and that we can sit here and talk in a positive way, because we know a lot of our veterans maybe didn't have such a joyful, pleasant time as my dad and mom were able to, but we still want to take the time to say we appreciate all of our veterans and what they did for our country, what they still do for our country, and we want to wish everyone a happy Independence Day.
Amen.
And thank you for your service.
You're welcome.